Today I'm going for a first run in the Saucony Triumph 18. .59 miles, 9 minutes, 21 seconds per mile, 138 beats per minute today. Going for a nice and easy run, a little bit of a longer run for today, but enjoying the run for the first time in the Triumph 18. Now, it feels like I just finished running in the Triumph 17, but I love that shoe so much, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to see what Saucony's done to update this shoe. Now, before I get into my thoughts on this shoe, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased with my own money. No one sent it to me or is paying me to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview my thoughts or footage before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Saucony Triumph 18. Now, this is a follow-up that I would normally say would have been eagerly anticipated had it come out in the fall or even in the winter, but we're getting it right now in the summer. And given the things that I didn't like about the 17, which were very few, I think that they've really done a great job on this one. So what we have is a full Power Run Plus midsole in this shoe, just like we had last year. It's an 8mm drop shoe with a bunch of stack height, 24.5mm of foam in the forefoot, so plenty of cushion for you to land on those longer runs. And that's where I think this shoe really fits in. I put it in the category of max cushion or max cushion daily trainer, something that you could take out for your everyday runs. I would like it for my easy to even slower than that recovery day type of runs, like the one that I had today. I'm in a bit of a recovery phase for this week, and probably for at least one more week. I'm going to be doing lots of slow and easy runs. It's absolutely perfect timing for me to get this shoe. Now, the thing that this Power Run Plus foam does, it kind of looks like Boost and it kind of behaves like Boost. But I think it's, for some reason, a lot better than Boost. I think that this shoe is just fantastic at soaking up road miles. It just lets you get out there and cruise and enjoy the entire run without having to think about it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, the one thing I didn't like about the Triumph 17 was that I felt like it was a really hot shoe. In the heel, in the midfoot, everywhere there was just padding and overlays and layers and stuff. And it was like they threw everything at it and everything stuck on it and no one did any editing. It was still a great shoe to run in, but it just had so much stuff on top. Part of that is that it wanted to have lots of plush cushion for you to have to wrap around your foot, to have a really comfortable step-in feel, so that while running, everything from the part that touches the ground to the part that touches your ankle, everything was just super luxurious. It ended up to me though looking and feeling a little bit like Ryu's gloves. But other than that, it was still a great shoe, but it was hot. So now with it being summertime, I think one of the things that they've changed for the 18 is that this back area here has been, this is where I think most of the changes have happened. We've lost a lot of that kind of memory foam. It's still really comfortable and it's still padded. There's still a lot of padding in here, but a lot of the excess that was in here from last year's is gone. So we lose a little bit of that. Still keeps it comfortable, but it makes it less hot. The other thing that we have is this year, it's very firm in the heel cup. So I don't really tend to need that, but for those of you who wanted a little bit more lockdown in the heel area, last year's version was a little bit floppy. This year is very rigid, gives it a lot of structure here. So you guys are going to really love that. I felt very locked in the entire time running in the shoe. And a lot of that has to do with the stuff that's going on in this midfoot area. This is where I don't know, they've at least kept it as puffy and comfortable as last year's, if not gone a little bit overboard. I feel like this year there's a lot of padding right in this area here where these little rubber nub overlays are, and over here on the side it's really kind of bulbous. So the parts on like the side of your ankle or below that ankle bone are going to be really well padded. I think this not so much is about a padding issue, but it helps it keep snug on your foot and aids in that feeling of comfort. The tongue, I feel like they had the most padded tongue in this thing last year, and I feel like somehow they've managed to add even more. It's super puffy on the tongue. And so what it does is from the side part of the ankle all the way to the front, it's this big giant pillow. Now this is an area where it is going to get a little bit warm, and if there's sweat dripping down your leg on a hot day, it's going to collect and it's going to sit in here. But it is very, very comfortable. I could see why they're doing it, but if we're going to trim this down even more, I wouldn't mind a little bit less puffiness in the tongue area as well, especially because you've also got these floppy, spongy, puffy laces too. But overall, I'm not going to argue with the fact that it is comfortable. In the forefoot, I think it's pretty much the same and not that change from last year's toe box. It's very roomy, lots of space in here. Didn't feel pinched in here at all in any of the 11 miles that I went for the run in today. Very breathable with that mesh letting the air come in through the shoe. So that does help a little bit with some of the heat. But overall, the upper is where the predominant changes are. Trimmed down in the back, maybe that just shifted more towards the midfoot, and the front I think kind of stays the same. Overall, there wasn't a lot that there was a problem with in the 17, and I'm glad that they showed a lot of restraint. And I actually am surprised at how much they changed in the upper, but they didn't ruin it. They didn't mess up a good thing. Still a very good upper. Now in terms of the midsole here, I think that the changes here are really subtle. I mean, there's some cosmetic changes. Like last year's was sculpted and wavy. This year is like hash marks in it, a little bit more angular, making it a little bit more, I guess, look a little less plumpy than it was last year. So a little bit more shaved, but there is more midsole foam in here. Overall, the heel drop is the same, so the angle of attack from heel to forefoot is still the same. And there's only 0.5 millimeters, so a minuscule amount more of midsole material in here in terms of stack height. But I think there's just more in this shoe. I feel like it's heavier. It's gained almost half an ounce over last year's version, or maybe it's coming from the outsole. Now the outsole here is all like a blown rubber. I believe that's what it is in here. Last year we had a combination of rubber and the crystal rubber, and there's a lot of rubber coverage, but it seems to be relatively thin. So a judicious application. From my first impressions from today, I feel like the Triumph 18 was a very quick update to the 17, and it feels almost like it's just kind of like a summer update. So maybe like a 17.5. If you really love the 17 or were excited about the 17, this 18 might be the way to go if you were worried about some of that heat. On the other hand, the retail price for this 18 is 150 bucks, and the 17 is now getting discounted to about 120 bucks. So depending on how hot it is where you are, the 17 might be their choice for you, because I feel like the shoes are pretty similar. But if you've already put a ton of miles in your 17 and are looking for something new and fresh, and it's summertime and hot where you are, I think the Triumph 18 is going to make you really happy. So those are my thoughts on the Triumph 18 after just the first run. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you can get updates onto how this shoe fares over time as I start putting it through some versus battles as well. That way you'll get notified when those videos hit. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?